Alright, Hudson Oscar 52. Let's talk about it. Made in the USA. This has a 37 horse Vanguard. We're at 570-ish hours on it. This thing's seen a lot of trees. I'm gonna come right off the rip and say, if you're looking for something commercial, this is not the mill. It can be done, but it's not efficient. Everything on it is manual. Other than the set works, this is all manual. So this mill has been in use. Got it brand new. It's been running for probably 2.5 years now. A lot of things have been done to it. Start with my biggest gripe with this mill. This isn't a commercial mill, but still, even on a homeowner setup, my biggest gripe is these bunks. You got like a 1/4 inch above the rail, and that's it. Now the issue with that is that we're using a telehandler to load this thing and offload it. You look over here, we got some big logs over there. Look at that chungus. Okay, we can cut 42 inches in between that wheel and the guide, and so we're putting some big trees on this thing, and we got to use the forklift. And it's a bummer that we can't use it the way we should be able to, because you'll end up poking this bottom bunk, or you'll poke this rail, or what I've done countless times is poke this far side and that rail. We got some blowout over here from my dumb ass poking it. I'm not drinking the beer while I'm milling, but we're done milling, so it's beer 30. So that happens sober. You got a mill like this guy over here, the Clark. You can see they're well, maybe you can't see. Look at that. They're sitting up high. I can slide the forks underneath that. I ain't got to worry about poking nothing. The way I currently load this mill is I'll take 2 straps like these guys or these guys. I'll take these straps, choke them around the log, and run an end through the fork, and that's how I'll load it. And it works, but it's time consuming, and especially when you're digging stuff out of the pile, you got to dig it out with the forks, set it down, and then run a strap underneath it. And when you're doing this for money, every minute counts. So yeah, that's honestly my biggest gripe about this mill, is that the bunks are not above the track. If they fix that issue, it'd be a lot better. The other thing about the bunks is that you got a single and then you got a double, and you'll have double, single, single, double. And when you're putting the big logs on there, maybe you can tell in the video, maybe I should have pulled this off first. But what happens is these singles, they bend, and now you can't keep the wood level. The only thing that has stayed is the doubles, and there's even a couple of those that have been bent just a little bit. Next gripe on the tracks are these stops and lockers. So every one of these stops have been bent and broke and snapped off. So what we've had to do is cut them off. I moved them forward a little bit so that my wheel doesn't hit the lumber as I'm coming through for a cut on a big beam. We do big beams here. We're not cutting slabs. So I need all this room. I need all that to cut. If you're cutting a slab, you can get there, you know, I think they said this is supposed to be like 45 inches or something. I actually get 42 inches between the guide and the wheel. That's my max cut. So what I did is when we went to fix these, I bumped it out so that if my log is pressed up against this, I know I'm going to clear that wheel. The other thing that I don't like about these stops in the locking dogs here is that these dogs should be able to swivel without taking the stopper with it. There's a lot of times where you want to keep that stopper right where it's at so you can keep, you know, a cant like this where I've got two flat sides. I can stand it up and then I can move this locker down and I can cut through it. Hudson, they do make replacements for these now where it's a round bar, or maybe the bar is still fucking square, but this part's round so it'll spin and you can do it that way. It's a little better. Here's a common failure on these, and part of that's maybe my fault, leaning cants against it, but sometimes you got to save the time, and with those big guys it's so much weight that these aren't beefy enough to stop it. And I think that they should be beefier, because you're advertising, you know, a 45-inch cut, you're gonna have a big tree, there's a lot of weight, and you got to spin this thing. And so I'll lean it against these. Those all broke. You can see we've welded on new gussets on it. Maybe that one's a bad angle. But we took some extra steel and welded it on there, painted it. And I haven't bent these much. I bent one of them resting a log against it. But yeah, some beefier hardware there would go a long way. Unless you live on the East Coast, then you don't have any real trees to cut anyways. They're a bunch of toothpicks. Now, besides the tracks, which can be fixed and upgraded, besides the bunks, I guess a guy could install some larger bunks there. But you shouldn't have to. If you're buying a mill, it should just come the right way. The motor, zero problems with the motor at all. It's got all the power in the world that we need. 37 horse Vanguard, absolutely no complaints there. I think the only thing I've had to replace in this area is that solenoid here, which engages the blade. You flip this switch, she sucks her in, blade is engaged, blade disengaged. That failed. Very easy to fix. Hudson sent us a new one. I think we got it in like 2 or 3 days. No big deal there. It does walk itself down and back the tracks. That's pretty handy. My only complaint there is that it's slow. If I run it to the end of the tracks and I put this all the way up, it takes 1:30 to walk itself back. You know, if I do 60 cuts in a day, we're wasting a lot of time. All right, this machine does have setworks, which is awesome, but the issue is the way this is made. It's just a winch, that's what pulls it up and down. But how it wraps is over time, those will overlap each other, or I'll get spaced differently. Right there, if I can hold it straight. You guys gotta forgive me, I'm not a videographer, I'm a sawyer. So, those coils will get spaced out differently and wrap over each other in the wrong order. And what that does is it throws off my reading here on setworks. So, I either have to reset it, set my deck height constantly, and it'll be at the right deck height for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 passes where I gotta raise it up and lower it, and then it's back to being off. So majority of the time I actually just use my guide stick. If I do want to use this, what I'll do is I'll set the height, like I'll go up to the log I just cut, I'll set my blade on top of it, set the height, bring it back and I'll just do drop cuts. So if I set my height, whether this number is accurate or not, if I want it to go down an inch, that stays accurate. These bearings. So what comes stock on these Hudson is Dodge bearings. And they held up for a year before they broke. They are $400 a pop to replace. Our local supplier, McGuire, they sell these turners. We've been getting them for 50 bucks a pop, and you get what you pay for. These things do not last. It's not even the bearing that fails, it's the collar that these locks sit on. They crack, shatter, and a lot of times you don't know it. What'll happen is you'll see that your blade is tracking on the wheel a little bit off, and every time I see that, I know one of these 4 bearings has a broken collar. And so I got to go through, pull off the locks, and I'll figure out which one. Now, I think the second biggest pet peeve of mine, or disappointment, is how you set the tracking on this machine. This is just terrible. More so on this side. But you got this nut in here that locks it. You'll use these two to push the bearing out or let the bearing come in. But this, you can't fit a damn box wrench in there. This is such a pain in the ass to deal with. Why they got this little tab on the back, I don't know. Really, we should have cut it off a long time ago, but we never did. That sucks. I don't like the adjustment on this. Other mills have a much better design on that. Next on the list, we got this blade guide. This is shit. This is how you tighten it down. You just run a bolt against it and that's it. But the issue is if I go, besides it being a pain in the ass to move half the time, look at that. Unreal. You try to put some lube on this and dust just gets on it and then it gets caked up inside, and I honestly don't know if it's better or worse to put any lube on it. I quit putting lube on it. But when I tighten this down, if it's far out, it pushes into the blade further, and if I bring it back, it'll stick back this way. So the guide is never in the same spot. It changes based on how far out or how far in it is. Which is silly. I don't know how to fix that. Maybe have a longer tube here, or maybe have a tighter tolerance. That might make it harder to move. It's got some slop to it. Also, we got these band wheels here. These wheels, we have had 3 of them explode on us. Just shatter. One of them shattered and set a chunk all the way to that sidewalk over there. Ooh. I'll have to edit my face out. Yeah, wheel exploded, sent a chunk way over there, so watch out. Yeah, we had like 3 of these blow up back to back. They die cast, just not good quality. The other thing about these wheels is that the groove is too deep. So when you put the tire in here and it runs, unless it's a brand new tire, it is not proud at all. So the blade ends up riding a lot on this wheel. You see on that side, we got one of these Timberwolf polyurethane, and I kind of like them. They're pretty legit. They stick out further. Over here on this side, we don't have one because it broke, and well, this is what I had, but it's running good. The other gripe I have about this thing is that we got a bigger motor than I think most of these come with, and we are a wider cut. I believe this was custom. I didn't order the Sawmill, I just run it. But I think that was custom to get a larger cut, and all they did was make the head unit wider. They didn't beef up the frame any, so this thing vibrates like a motherfucker. It shakes, and when you turn it off, this whole thing just shakes all over the place, and I think that maybe that contributes to some bearing wear. Maybe not. I don't know. I just cut the wood. Overall, this is a good machine though. I know there's a lot about it that I don't like, but I'm out here Monday through Friday, a lot of weekends, running this thing 8-10 hours a day. And you know, we're timber framers, so this is used for commercial production. And you know, the truth is, this is a homeowner's sawmill. It's not meant to mass produce. I think if a guy had this at his house, he'd probably be pretty happy with it. But if you're looking for a sawmill and you're trying to make money with it, and you're gonna be using it all day, every day, you're better off probably going with a wood miser. I know they got help all over the place, especially here in the Northwest. They're everywhere. They got technicians that'll come out to you. The guys at Hudson, they are pretty cool. You can talk to the guy who designed this on the phone and he'll help you. His name's John. He's a super nice guy, pretty knowledgeable. But yeah, that's about it. Just a quick little walkthrough on this Hudson here. Good homeowners sawmill, not so good commercial product, but that's why we had to upgrade to the big dog over here. Ho ho. Yeah, 100 grand, 30 grand, get what you pay for.